Yes, welcome to the K. Kente Show. Welcome to the K. Kente Show. I have another special guest, man, and this guest is my brother Bomani Shakur, and we talking about political prisoners like we always do. I just want to take a shout out to for everybody right now, especially for the political prisoners, man. I always like to advocate for these brothers, man, letting brothers know we still got brothers that care. I want my brother Bomani to speak on that. And how you doing, my bro?
Brother, I'm well, brother. I'm well, brother. I'm well. I'm well, brother. What this is the campaign to free Abdul Olugbala Shakur, right?
Yes, sir.
For those who don't know, the elder Abdul Olugbala Shakur is a new African political prisoner, right? The brother been locked up 40 some plus years. Um, that the brother had been spent 32 plus years in the shoe with security housing, was a control unit, management unit, right? When you
Hmm.
isolated by yourself, you're not even coming outside. I don't think you basically come outside, but I don't think you basically come out yourself to go to the shower, right? Now,
Right.
Abdul historical origin is that he was a young brother at the age of 6 years old. He recruited and worked with the Black Panther Party as a Black Panther Cub at the age of 6 years old, all the way to all the way up to his teenage years, young years, right? So what
Yeah.
he was going to the community, helping elders in the community, clean up the community, create community guard, community protection, community education programs, so forth, so on, right? So the brother was grown into a political atmosphere before he became incarcerated, right? Now in the community he was staying in, which is a San Diego community, it was close to the military base. So the military base had to come through his neighborhood to get to their base. So we understand in regard to everything the atrocity of how people don't tell this story about their experiences with soldiers and people in the military, right? Now the soldier had the tendency to intimidate the sisters, intimidate the women, sexually harass them, rape the women, so forth, so on, right?
Hmm.
So a situation had occurred whereas white soldiers raped the sister. Well, they raped the sister. Abdul found out about the situation, so he confronted the brother. He confronted the soldier that resulted in one of the soldiers demise and the other one physically harmed. Right?
Yeah.
So one of them survived. So in the midst of that whole situation, the brother was incarcerated. Folks turned state evidence and told on him, and he received field penalty life. Now, upon entering the California prison system, he went in political already. You know, saying knowing about Black Panther Party, know about community organization, so forth. So he went in, he was embraced by the elders. You know, when the elder embraced him, he became a political prisoner due to their political beliefs. Then he got situated into the SHU program, security house unit, where they lay people known to be gang members or political people. So in the midst of that time, 30 something years in the SHU, he created various organizations such as a satellite network, Organized Emergency Response Network, Georgia University, um, so forth, so on. You know, criminal one he wrote books, he authored the
Okay.
brother created businesses and so forth, so on, right? No, he did a lot of work behind enemy lines, even though he's incarcerated, he still engaged community organization, community development. And the
Yeah.
Solid Network is one of those organizations that offer the aspect of like we all hear about Amber Alert, right? We all hear about that. You know what I'm saying? But we gotta have something to focus on our people too. So we got Solid Lit Network, focus on the missing new African men, women, children, and elders, right? And locating them, but also helping to protect them. They would specialize in that, which is community based. Now we understand that the power that be stated within his they was in a parole situation saying that outside of that network, emergency response network, are not community based, right? So people should ask themselves, is find out missing women and children ill criminal activity, or the activity of being is human rights activity, or activity of being noble, or activity of being humble, activity of being caring and loving? How is that even criminal? Or how is it even an aspect
Yeah.
that's not community based when people in our community are missing every
So
day,
so
all the time?
I want to ask you this. I ain't mean to cut you off, bro. But I wanted to ask you, like, even like I wanted to go back a little bit, like you said. When the soldier came and confronted him, basically they confronted each other and they was fighting it out or whatever like that.
No. The brother Abdul confronted the soldiers about what they were doing in the
Yeah.
community because that wasn't the first time they were doing stuff like he confronted them, right?
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? In front of the confrontation, the white soldier ended up being deceased and the other white soldier being injured. You
Yeah.
know,
Okay. Yeah.
and people who saw the situation knew about the situation that they basically turned informant and told on the brother and testified against him in court and things of that nature. You know what I'm saying? That actually got him the time he had, right? Which is
Yeah.
15, which is 15, or 15 to life, 15 to life. So in the midst of that, like for instance, the brother came parole last year, right? He came
Hmm.
parole in April. So they granted him parole. They granted him parole, right?
And you
Okay.
say he
Then had a
86. He 86, right?
no. The elder he going to like 64 years old.
Okay. Okay.
Okay.
Okay. All right.
Yeah, he going to 64 years old. He's gonna be 64 this year. What I'm saying is that he went came parole last year, right?
Yeah.
The last time he came parole was 2023. Oh, he came again last year. Okay. And last year when he came up, the base for denied his parole war, they stated that they gave him parole by mistake. That was the base level. They gave him parole by mistake.
Damn.
And the second time they said that they didn't ask him the right questions. What they mean by that is
Wow.
that they didn't ask them the question that they needed to keep him in. Questions such as has he been participating in gang-related activities, and which he hasn't. The IGI Institute of the Gang Investigation Unit performed an investigation of him. They didn't find no criminal activities or no activities in the jacket that warrant any kind of criminal offense. And also, the commissioners, the commissioner said within the hearing that he meet all the qualifications to be paroled, and if they follow the law, he should be out. Now they had the 120 days to rebuttal the situation, so they came back, and they came back later on. He went to another hearing, came back in December, and rescinded, took everything back, and they basically said that he didn't do everything they wanted him to do. One thing they wanted him to do was to write a 15-page letter informing all his political activities, right? They asked him
Yeah.
to do that in 2023. So they saying you have a stipulation for him to get out. Let's basically say if you don't get out, if you don't snitch, you don't get out. Now it goes back to where both was in the shoe. Where both was in the shoe, right? Doing all the in terms of shoe time. They had a situation in regards to like you either gonna die in the shoe or you gonna debrief with the inform and get out of the shoe. So they basically that same he's not in the shoe anymore. They came out of the shoe in 2015. Now they use that same premise to manipulate him, to coerce him, and also to psychologically abuse him with regards to his freedom, right? So
Hmm.
there's no prerequisites for a period to be out. And then they also use the basis that all the community organizations he created they're saying they're not community based, right? They're
Yeah.
not community based. Which you made he used the stipulation well saying that if he get out, he won't have the support by the people because the organization not community based. They justifying the ignorance in regards to them not acknowledging them because we know for a fact look for missing women and children not a criminal activity. Isn't there criminal about that? Isn't there criminal about trying to find your loved ones? We also know that there's nothing criminal about trying to fortify your community, which stands situated like Hurricane Katrina. We know that there's criminal about that, preparing for natural disasters. Those are not criminal activities, right? They get
Facts.
assassinated, killed, murdered, things like that. All
Yeah.
those are criminal activities. And what they're doing right now is criminal within the nation because they're actually denying a brother who meets all the qualifications to be released. Like in California, they passed a law recently stating that if a person is over 50 years old, they'll spend at least 30 years incarcerated consecutively. They have like a 0% chance of being coming back into incarceration and committing a crime, right? The brother meets
Yeah.
all those qualifications. But in the meantime, what they holding against him is his past, which is the whole thing against him is his activity from the streets coming in. Because they're saying that his activity racial based, right? And by identifying because you have represented that, you have political prisoners, you have represented nationalists, they consider that to be racial based because it's about a racial nation. A racial aspect, like New African, basically, you never time to really donate that like you're a black supremacist, but what you really not. I'm saying you have nations, a nation that's built upon independence. no, say human right or human right
like like
nation,
like explain
human rights of the
explain to
people, right?
people explain to the people what political prisoners is, man, and the difference between a person, like I said, that's incarcerated for some negative shit or whatever versus a political prisoner. Like, I mean, really, you broke it down, but I wanted you to explain that though, like to the people out there too, bro. That's all.
Okay. A political prisoner is an individual that becomes incarcerated for his or her political activities, his or her political ideology, his or her political involvement, right? These activities are deemed to be sometimes deemed as being security threat, sometimes deemed as being um, socially inadequate or anti-American or anti-colonial or anti-imperialist or anti-racist, whatever it may be, right? Now, these activities, say for instance that a brother a brother part of a political organization, right? And he's in the community. He's in the community feeding the people. He's in the community doing armed patrol. He's in the community, you know what I'm saying? People teach people how to educate themselves, build schools, build community centers, handgun training, rifle training, learn different things, learn the African history, learn different things in nature, right? The
Yeah,
individuals out there doing the work in the field. Then the individual gets set up get lied on, say he committed a murder charge or something like that, and even doing political work, that is a political prisoner. He become a political prisoner, or individuals out there is out there get locked up in the midst of like a revolt or rebellion, like at the Watts rebellion or something a protest or whatever it may be, right? Those are political
yeah.
prisoners. Like even the aspect of like getting locked up because your politics say you can't join the military or you can't donate blood or whatever it may be, right? Those are political activities
Like
going
like
to a
when like
political
when like when
organization.
Muhammad Ali, like when Muhammad Ali got locked up that time that he ain't even want to go into the war.
Yeah, that is the same thing happened to Elijah Muhammad. Elijah Muhammad
Yep.
went through that same thing, and that made him a political prisoner because his beliefs were that he wasn't even engaged into the American politics. So
Yeah.
that was his political beliefs, even though it stemmed from the Nation Islam, which is a religious organization, but that was their political beliefs though. So he became a political prisoner in that aspect at that time period, because he refused them.
Like
Because
I heard.
that's a federal situation.
Yep. And like I heard Fred Hampton Jr. always say this too, man. Everything is political. Like sports, entertainment, everything is political that we doing, we watch and everything. And I used to be like, damn, I like, okay, everything is basically really political though, for real. But we really don't know it though. So what you gotta, like say about that though, brother? Far as like how you feeling like everything is political out here in the world.
Well, it is when you look at it from just from the general system thing, like say for instance your family, right? You can take your family as an example. Okay, within
Yeah,
the family, right? The basic kind of makeup is that the mother, father, and the child, right? Okay, okay. Now, where there's a political system going on because everybody has a position within the family that's political, right?
yeah,
Everybody has the father had a role, the mother had a role, and the
yep,
child has a role, right? But that is a form of government. Politics ain't never been government, right? Government, law and order, and discipline, direction. So within the family, there's a political structure. There's a political
yeah,
structure within the family that goes back to what's one term as a civilization or a history or empire or a kingdom or a queendom. That those are politics, right? Because
yeah,
the more we go back in antiquity, a lot of the politics were controlled by monarchs and monarchs. You know what I'm saying? Monarchs and dignitaries and things of that nature. You know what I'm saying? Queen, kings, you know what I'm saying? Prince, emperor, things, so forth, so on. Right? Those were the
yeah,
politics. But now we have what you call structure of government. We have president, we have prime minister, we have bishop, we have so forth, so on. Right? So
yep,
everything political we do because everything has some kind of government order. So everything has some kind of political law to it. Like for instance, going into the community, say we all stay in the same neighborhood, right?
mm,
And we have a block group or a committee group. That is the politics of our neighborhood. That is the politics of our community. You
yeah,
know, that is the government of our community because we govern that. We control it. We control the economic development. the political development, social development, education, we told everything in the community. That's the
Yeah,
government, that's political. Okay, everything we do is the political to in a small sense to a bigger sense. Everything has decision to it, because the politics basically like we look a little deeper, right? Some people say that if we can govern ourselves, we won't have to have no government, right? There a lot of people believe in being anarchists and anarchist things of that nature, right?
yeah,
So if we can govern ourselves, we have to have no politics. But due to the fact that we want to govern ourselves, we have other people that govern us that form a political basis. Not just
yeah.
the aspect of Democrat and Republic, no, they're just a political system in order, a
But
system of
but but
order.
but see, but see,
Politics
that's
system of
another
orders, right?
that's another thing too. Even when I guess our ancestors were over there in Africa, whatever, we still had tribes. We still had some type of government over there too. It just wasn't part of this type of system that we were in, right?
Yeah, we all had the government, what I'm saying? It all had the
Yeah,
government. All governments are different. A lot of our ancestors believe in the aspect of like communalism. They believe that what I'm saying that everything in the community was one.
yeah,
A
yeah,
lot of roots like people talking about socialism and Ujamaa and those use those type of terms. Those terms derived from my ancestors. Regardless of what we're doing, the collective working responsibility,
yeah,
purpose, self determination. These different principles. What a lot of these principles people use during time of Kwanzaa, but these principles you use every day. Just like we say, black resistance 365, right? So we're resisting every day. Right now, we're resisting using the education. This education to me we're using right now. Education to me is a form of resistance. We're resisting by putting out information in regards to propagate certain ideas and concepts that can actually assist a brother or sister in regards to making their own decision regarding when you their own conscious mind to make decisions and control their own destiny. We, we,
yeah,
we pushing that aspect of free will and free thought right now. No, we can't force nobody to look at the broadcast. We can't force nobody to accept what we believe. We can't force somebody to do the work we do. We can't force somebody to do
right.
anything. But we
That's
can
right.
throw out information for people to evaluate and to analyze and critique to make decisions whether they want to get involved with it or not, or participate in that, or know about it even not. This is a form of awareness. This is a tool of propagation. Like all these wars, we lose in propagation, but we don't propagate enough. We don't share our stories and narratives enough. We don't control the media enough to show people in regards to what's going on with us in our particular lives, right? Like,
Yeah,
mass incarceration, the biggest event on planet Earth. There's no business bigger than MasterCard, bigger than the prison system. It's a multi-billion-dollar corporation, and it's legal due to the 13th Amendment. The 13th Amendment states that if a person commits a crime, he or she goes into slavery, which is prison, and goes into slavery. Therefore, if people is a slave, a lot of slaves don't have rights. Slaves don't matter. They're basically like animals. They're basically like human chattel slavery, or property, so to speak. When people go into mass incarceration, go into prison. But in all actuality, and international rights, universal declaration of human rights, which the international thing standpoint, said that we all have rights to nationality. Which so you say you first have been new African. It's not a crime to be a new African. It's not a crime to be a resident Republic of Africa. Even though we understand that due to the system at B, any kind of revolutionary action, any kind of action that's not considered to be pacifist, they consider to be a crime. That's not a crime. That's not a crime, That's not a crime. We all have a right. We can choose if you want to say you're African American, you want to say you're Ado, you want to say you're a Moor, you want to say you're a Hebrew, you want to say you're a Jet, whatever you be. That's a right to your nationality. So say you have representative national, you African is a right to have rights to nationality. That's national. That's not a crime. And they were proven due to different lawsuits that brothers put out there that was in the shoe, such as Abdul Olugbala Shakur, such as Masofa the Goma. They filed different lawsuits that show and prove that being a new African is not a gang, it's not a street organization, it's not any of that. You know what I'm saying? It's not criminal. It's saying it was a movement, New African independent movement geared toward the independence of a people that themselves new African through historical origin. That's the only way it is. It's not criminal with their nature, right? So the brother
yeah,
is being persecuted. Our dude being persecuted because of his political beliefs. Political beliefs that started when he was a child. The state feels that his racial ideology and radical ideology from when he was a teenager and a child still exists when he's a 6 7 plus year old man. That
mm-hmm.
doesn't make sense. And everybody knows once a person get older, they gonna change. You're gonna change for being a teenager to a man. You're elder now. You're gonna
Yeah,
change from that
yeah,
standpoint, right? So they're trying to criminalize certain activities when the system is already should be criminalized themselves regarding the way they treat brothers. They put a brother in the shoe. You go to the shoe program, security housing program, you're being tortured psychologically, emotionally.
Mm.
You're being deprived of sunlight, which is not good for you. You're deprived of human contact, which is not good to you. A lot of times you're not be able to see your mail getting censored, so they tamper with your mail. Sometimes they playing with your food. You know, you have racial wars going on around you. You know, the officers might be racist. They might be paid off by the racist people, or they might be working with the racist people. It says like I do. They say I'm on the actual called the Gun Wars. When they see you out there to other prison to fight for your life, just like to move with animal with being range on them. They were doing
Mm.
brothers like that in California prison. They're sending brothers on those types of missions, to fight for their benefits, or them gambler, whatever the prison gambler, whatever, or illegal, whatever the benefit. But they sending brothers on those types of missions, right? They're putting brothers in the category like, okay, you're a new African, we're gonna put around all these white supremacists. So the hopes of the white supremacists are killing you because of your political beliefs. Stuff like that in general. Or they deny you clean clothes. They deny
We
you
got a lot of
clean,
that
they
going
deny
on.
you food,
We got a lot of
So,
that going
so
on up here. At the prison system, Red Onion up here by where I'm at in Virginia. So we got a lot of that going on up there too. Yeah.
yeah,
Go ahead,
yeah,
bro.
there's a lot of prison human rights issues going on everywhere, man, and that's why everything that took place in prison from rebellions in Folsom, from rebellions in Attica, from rebellions in Lucasville, from rebellions in Reedville, from rebellions in Alabama. Different prisons in all the United States have rebelled against certain things because the basic human needs. If you die, you're already incarcerated, right? So you're not going home. So you got to one thing you can keep is your human dignity. One thing you can keep
Yeah.
your humaneness, right? Your humanity. So if a person is not being given their proper situation in regards to proper clean clothes, clean sheets, being fed at the right time, and being access to all the so-called amenities of prison, what they call, a person gonna get rebellious about the situation because we need our basic human rights. Don't nobody want to be around having dirty clothes, dirty sheets, stuff like that bring bacteria, bring diseases, things of that nature.
Right.
Because what we do know historically that hepatitis C first started being documented and documented in the prison system. Hepatitis C developed in the prison. It didn't develop on the street. So we think about
Right.
hepatitis C, how many people don't die from it? From different political prisoners don't have hepatitis C. Some kids got it. People don't die from that. That along with cancer, things of the nation. That developed in the prison system. So that
Yep.
tell you that the prison system has been uh, polluted situation with these different bacteria and the different antigens that affect the minds of the people and the masses, right? So they're
Yeah.
just looking into the life of a person themselves, right? Things like that. That has an outside effect. A lot of times people don't consider that mass incarceration and what it does. But you look at the prison school pipeline, like you look at it, the American academic system, right? The American
Mm.
academic system is geared toward teaching people and program conditioning them to be uh, lawless, to be menials, to be mental slaves. Because those a lot of times we don't learn about we don't learn how to save our money. We don't learn how to invest in the business. We
Yep.
don't learn how to be independent. We don't learn to think independent. We're looking at what you call the American way. We learned about the Greeks, the Romans, the Mycenaeans. But when it comes to people who look like us, from ancient Kemet, Kushites, ancient Ethiopians, Aboriginal, the Congoan people, the Axum civilization, the Knox civilization.
Yeah.
Look, when it comes to civilization like about that, we don't learn those things in school. And even when they do talk about those things in school, it might be one chapter with about 8 pages. When you come to the
Yep.
Greeks, it might be 5 or 6 chapters just on the Greek alone.
Yep.
But when it comes to our people, just like Ron Ellis said in the book, The Invisible Man, like he said, we invisible man. That means we don't have no history, no culture, no ideology, no purpose of life. We non-existent, so to speak. So
Yeah.
in order for to recognize that aspect of being invisible, we got to make ourselves live. We got to love ourselves.
Yeah,
We,
no,
we got
yeah,
we got to have
yeah, yeah. Like you
self-respect for
said,
ourselves,
no,
you know.
like you said, no ownership, no. You know what I'm saying? It's like we don't have nothing for real. And I hate to say it, like we don't. I ain't saying we don't, but it's like we don't. We would never own nothing long as we part of this. You know what I'm saying? System, the way it's set up. Like I'm talking about
Pros
full
up, bro.
ownership, huh? You're
Yeah, okay. You saying what you was saying?
no.
It
I was
froze
saying
up.
it's like I was like this. Is, I was like long as we into this government that we was brought up in and raised up in, we would never have no full ownership of nothing.
Yeah, yeah, I agree with that. We got to be independent, man. You know, we got to
Yeah,
a
and I
lot
mean,
of time
and
we
people
talk.
always would say like, "Go ahead, no, you go ahead, go ahead."
I was gonna say a lot of times people talk about community, right?
Yeah,
Now we look at the word community and what it actually is. When you talk about a community, that means you gotta own everything in the community. That's the only community.
yeah,
Other than that, you just living in a neighborhood. Now, if you in the community, you own the library in the community. You own the bank in the community. You own the grocery store in the community. You own the community center in the community. You own the schools in the community. You own the community garden in the community. You own the business in the community. And all the community roles ran and controlled operated by the people in the community that live there. Then that's their community. And they how they own the land in the community. That's their community. But other than that, we are basically just renting and leasing to certain situation. So we live in a neighborhood. We don't actually own the community that we live in.
that would
You
yeah,
know, and but because 9 out of 10 in certain a lot of situations, people in our community live in the community, a farmers community. Like for instance, we live in a community, but everybody in the community that own the stores are people from India, people from Arabia, people from Guatemala, people from El Salvador, people from Ireland or France or England. Things of that nature, but they don't look nothing like people live in the community.
yeah,
If people live in the community, they live there 30 or 40, 50 years, but they don't own it in the community, even though they live there. That's politics. So the politics of the community is not politics of the community. You know what I'm saying, on a higher echelon, can be controlled by outside forces. You know what I'm saying, in regards to the people inside, that because the economic aspect can tell you that it's circulating in a different type of community. It's not circulating among us. It's circulating among the people that actually had the business there. So the money circulating in that community. Whereas when we go to a community of all new African, all black people, they can circulate in a different way because everything owns to operate by us. Those are the type of situations you live in right now today. That's another form of mental slavery. Even though you
fact,
people not incarcerated
facts,
physically, but mentally you're incarcerated mentally. Mental bondage itself.
big facts.
And that's why stuff like this is very important to a lot of political prisoners because a lot of political prisoners, like Abdul Olugbala Shakur, still doing the work. These brothers are still doing the work. And in midst of his own situation, been denied parole numerous times, he's still doing the work. He's still creating programs that are geared toward the relief of our social ills, the release of our physical ills, our mental ills. He's still creating programs. He's still being selfless by sacrificing himself for the needs of our people, taking a stand and refusing to be a house nigga, refusing to be a sambo, refusing to be a snitch, a stool pigeon, or refusing to be an individual that reveals their political history and political involvement that jeopardize
Yeah,
political about other people, especially when they label your political involvement being from it anyway, even though it's not. So that's the situation we're dealing with. So when we running this campaign as a way to encourage people, inspire, and influence them, and also educate them about the Abdul Olugbala Shakur, other individuals that are incarcerated political prison, and that political prison exists in America. It's just an direct program campaign. It based on a campaign also that where you can call to the Governor Newsom in California, and demand that Governor Newsom, at least Abdul Olugbala Shakur, and fulfill themselves their duties and rights. When they stated previously that he was eligible for parole and that there was nothing holding him back, in general, that made him actually fall through that situation, right? Because this is very discriminative. It's discriminative, it's criminal, it's not right, it's bad, because, when you deny a person his or her right to freedom of liberation, when the individual hasn't did anything but conduct himself in a righteous way, in a righteous manner, that's criminal within itself. That's problematic, right?
Yeah,
Because all
yeah,
that brother did, all that brother guilty of is being a new African revolutionary, being a new African liberation. That's all he guilty of. He guilty of going by international law, but he guilty of being able to pursue his own nationality. He guilty of choosing self determination. He guilty of being self educating. He guilty of being an individual that's a mentor, an elder, a guide to the younger individual to keep them out of criminal mentality. He guilty of that. There's no criminal about none of that I name above. He guilty of being a servant leader of the people. That's stupid, man. That doesn't make sense, man.
yeah. It doesn't, man. It doesn't. Like that's definitely free Abdul Shakur, man. That's for real. All free, all political prisoners, man. All political prisoners. That's the campaign we need to be fighting
Froze
for
up,
anyway,
bro.
man.
Nah, I didn't hear you say it, man. Froze up.
I was just saying we need to free. I said free all political prisoners, man. Free Abdul Shakur. Let's free all political prisoners. Try to get all of them to spread the word though. Like I was saying earlier. Can you hear me good, brother?
Yeah, I hear.
I was saying like we were like me and you was talking earlier before. I said we always know who incarcerated for bullshit. You know what I mean? We everybody can say free them, but when it comes to political prisoners, we don't talk about them. So that's why I salute you, bro, right now for what you doing too, bro. Definitely.
No, no, no doubt, man. You gotta think about it, man. Do we actually control the education system? Do we
No,
control the
sir.
schools?
Nope.
You know, we live in we exist in a system that controlled by American academia. Now the solutions are to this situation is like we can teach our children at home. We can have a homeschooling, African homeschooling co-op. We can have after Sunday schools. We can have study groups. We can have book study groups. We got community centers. We got learning centers. Those are solutions to the problem in regards to us having the aspect of not teaching us not being able to teach our children. Those are solutions right there.
Yes, sir.
I understand everybody's not able to educate them children. Everybody even able to even obtain the information, right? They're able to obtain it, but
Definitely.
everybody doesn't obtain the information in regards to that that's historical and correctly right in regards to our historical origin of people, our identity, the identity and our purpose and our goals and our achievement and accomplishment, our great ancestors, even the ones in the present, right? A lot of us don't
Yeah.
know about uh, um, where Harriet Tubman did, what
Yep.
Nat Turner did, or what Gabriel Prosper did, or who created the light bulb, or who created
Yeah.
the stoplight, or learn the aspects of about a new African doctor created plasma. You know what I'm saying? Or made snippets in the blood bank and created the first
Right.
blood bank, our people had the first successful surgeries, and our people had the first successful medicines, and our people create mathematics, geometry, philosophy, art, so forth and so on, right? A lot of us don't know these things because we haven't been educated to our aspect.
Yeah.
Even a lot of our parents haven't been educated, so they pass on the same thing. If you come from five generations of people that haven't been taught the right information,
You would.
it, it,
Yeah.
um, you gonna have the same information they have. You got to make
Yeah. I
decisions
agree.
yourself to come out of that to come out of that spell, so to speak, or to come out of that curse, so to speak, and better yourself, and will it better your own family, your own community and environment by educating yourself. Because people before you did wasn't received it, they had the information. They worked with what they had. A lot of
Right.
times what we have based upon our instinct, because we know for a fact during the aspect of slavery, it was forbidden to read. It was forbidden able to write. A lot of people
Yep.
was illiterate. There's a lot of people literate. A lot of people are literate. A lot of people still illiterate to today, man, especially with everything being dumbed down. We live in an age now, even though the age of technology sophistication, the level of consciousness has been dumbed down severely right now. Especially when we
Very.
start looking at things
Very.
like
Very.
people engaging in these very rich challenges that doesn't make sense. People engaging in
Very.
very activity doesn't make sense. But like for instance, it's a very it's different thing. People be saying different like I saw something today where the brother was saying that he asked his nephew, did he know Emmett Till? And nephew asked him what grade was he in. So it has a little humor to it when you think about it. It mentally devastating due to the fact that even kill the youngsters, just like youngsters are, who were killed just because the pigmentation in his skin. He didn't do anything.
Yeah.
He was just killed because of that, And,
Yep.
and a lot of children don't know who is that, don't know who he is, even though he had the most horrific funeral and horrific picture ever exposed in regard to a physical being been exposed to the camera masses on the camera, man. One of the most atrocious pictures ever been exposed. It showed the brutality of people that actually murdered him that looked like some animal dealers. It looked savage, it
Yeah.
looked barbaric, like, man. You know
Yeah.
that type of thing, that type of psychological abuse, physical abuse, emotional abuse that been getting into us. Those types of situations put fear into the minds of the people. Fear to them to not want to learn how to read. You know what I'm saying? When the slaves again were getting killed and murdered, learn how to read and write and get your hand chopped off, tongue cut off, just for learn how to read and write,
Right.
Those types of situations, that type of fear is inherent with a lot of our genetics is still going on. So we gotta keep that out of us. We gotta
Yes,
we
sir.
gotta push it in our system.
Yeah.
The culture that we are submitted and understanding is not our culture. So we got to transfer ourselves out of that and transfer our mentality out of that so we can be in a better culture. Like the aspect of transfer us out of this culture, another culture, and another mind state that's more suited for our own self determination, more suited for our own needs.
I just wanna salute you, brother, man, for you doing the work, man. Always have been doing the work, man. I know you for some years now, man. I just wanna salute you though, bro, on that, man. You know what I'm saying? Doing the work for political prisoners, doing the work for the people. You know what I'm saying?
No doubt, I appreciate it, bro.
brothers don't get rewards for, you know what I'm saying, doing the right thing, but brothers should get flowers all the time. And I salute, that's what I salute, bro. You know?
Okay, I appreciate it, bro. I appreciate the way I brought up and using your
Yeah,
platform to educate and inform people, to show our own narrative, man. You getting people out to tell their story, which is a
yeah.
beautiful thing, man. Because if we don't tell our own story, somebody else will, right?
Somebody
That,
else
that
gonna
don't mean
do
they
it.
gonna tell it
And,
right.
and somebody else gonna do it, gonna capitalize off of it like they always do, make money off of it like they always do, take our ideas like they always do. Yep. That's about it, bro. So man, we about to get ready to end this, man. I want you to let the people know what could they write, brother Abdul Shakur, or some type of, you know what I'm saying, motivation, or let the people know, bro.
Okay. As I stated, we have a brochure and a pamphlet floating around. The pamphlet is called the Campaign to Free Abdul Olugbala Shakur. The brochure is just under duress. Well, you can contact me directly via email at boomanshakir80@gmail.com, which is BOMANISHAKUR80 You can contact me contact me that you can receive both of the literature and paperwork, but also in the midst of that, just under rest, we asking people to call Governor Newsom and demand that Abdul Olugbala Shakur be released. We also asking people to look at the look at the outside of Lit Network and see how can they want to get involved in regards to bringing our new African men, women, and children home, and also create emergency response networks within the community as well. Those information also can be received by me as well by emailing me, right? The same information. Again, at boomanshakir80.com, right? And I want people to understand the base to be aware that we are political prisoners in America, and that Abdul Olugbala Shakur is unjustly being incarcerated due to their political beliefs, what they're holding against him. And he been incarcerated for over 40 some plus years and 30 some years in a torture chamber. And the brother released, he's an elder now. He posed no kind of threat to society. He even had the mind state to even be a criminal, even want to go back into mass incarceration, right? And I want to yield with that, and I say love and peace and free the land.
Yes, sir. Free the land.